So starting off with the different kinds of constraints, let us start off first with the constraints which are, suppose say, holonomic. Okay, so we call the holonomic constraints the holonomic. The holonomic constraints are holonomic or integrable constants. We call them integrable constraints. Okay, integrable constraints. Now what are holonomic or integrable constraints? Which class of constraints do we consider as holonomic and integrable? Okay, so basically when a constraints relations we have discussed in the last video, simple relations of constraints, isn't it? If such relations are independent of velocity, or if a constraint relation is independent of velocity and it is expressed in the, so independent constraint relation independent of velocity. That is the main definition of holonomic or integrable constraint. It should be and expressed as. How would you express a holonomic constraint? As a function of, say, R1, R2, R3, so on and so forth, Rn, t, which is time, equal to 0. But you see it has no velocity component. You call this holonomic constraint or integrable constraint. Alright, whereas when you talk about non-holonomic or non-integrable constraints, what are they? Well, a non-holonomic constraint, it will be basically what? As the name suggests, if holonomic constraint is independent of velocity, non-holonomic constraint will be dependent on velocity. It cannot, you cannot write it in this form then. Okay, when you cannot write a constant equation in this form, then it is a non-holonomic constraint. This constraint will essentially depend upon constraint equations depending on velocity. You call it a non-holonomic constraint. Okay, so if this is your holonomic and non-holonomic constraint, what is a scleronomic or rheonomic constraint? Well, a scleronomic constraint, scleronomic, okay, it is also called stationary. A scleronomic constraint is also called stationary constraint. So a scleronomic or stationary constraint, well, can you just describe what this constraint is from the very name as suggested over here? Well, a scleronomic or a stationary constraint, look into this name stationary. It does not depend explicitly on time. That means, that is why we call it stationary. As time evolves, the definition of the constraint does not change with it. With time, the whole thing remains constraint. The constraint relation is time independent. The constraint relation is time independent. Time independent. Okay. Unlike rheonomic constraint, just as you have holonomic and non-holonomic, scleronomic and rheonomic, they are just opposite to one another. Unlike rheonomic constraint. What does rheonomic constraint tell us? That rheonomic constraint is essentially, the constraint relation is, the constraint relation is time dependent. Okay, so these are the four major constraints. All right, apart from that, we also have conservative constraint. Okay, what is a conservative constraint? From your idea of conservative forces, we have conservative constraint. Okay, so conservative constraint. So what is it? Well, in such a constraint, the total, when a total mechanical energy of the system is conserved, during the constrained motion, and well, the work done is constant. Okay, we know that the constraint is a conservative constraint. Basically, what is the definition of conservative forces? Conservative forces are those forces which are actually independent of path, and it depends only on the initial and final point. Okay, so the work done for such, the total mechanical energy of the system is conserved during the constraint motion. So here the total mechanical energy of the system is conserved, and the work done over a closed path is 0. Okay, but then other than conservative constraint, what is it that you have? Just as you had holonomic, non-holonomic, scleronomic, rheonomic. So conservative constraint and dissipative constraint, where this doesn't work. For dissipative constraint, whatever is satisfied for conservative constraint, for dissipative constraint, it doesn't work. The total mechanical energy of the system is not conserved. Okay, so total mechanical energy of the system is not conserved. In the constraint motion, and here the work done will not be equal to 0 over a closed contour. Okay, so this is dissipative. So, well, if you take some simple examples of constraints, for example, if we take the example of, say, a rigid body. Okay, what can we say? What kind of a constraint does a rigid body satisfy? What is the equation for a rigid body? If you remember some examples, let us do some typical examples. Say a rigid body. If we take the example of a rigid body, so what does it satisfy? The equation satisfied by the rigid body is, if you remember, I said just now that the distance between any 2 points will be a constant, isn't it? So this is a constraint equation. Alright, this constant can be anything. It's a constraint equation. What kind of a constraint it is? So the work done by the constraint force will vanish, and the constraint relation is time independent. With the evolution of time, this will not change. So the constraint, and it is also not velocity dependent. So holonomic, scleronomic and conservative. So the constraints that are satisfied over here are, the constraint is holonomic because it is velocity independent. It is scleronomic because it is time independent, and conservative. Okay, because here the work done over the closed control will be equal to 0. Okay, so let us take another simple example. Well, for the motion of a body on an inclined plane, suppose say a body is moving in an inclined plane under gravity. Okay, so suppose you have a body like this, an inclined plane like this, and a body is moving on this down under gravity like this. Okay, so you have the reaction force R acting on the body, you have the weight acting downwards, which is mg, this is your angle theta. Okay, so if you try, and if you consider this as your x-axis and this as your y-axis, then the corresponding equation which you can write down over here is y by x is equal to tan of theta, or y minus x tan theta is equal to 0, is equal to 0. Okay, so that is your constraint equation. So what kind of constraints are satisfied over here? Well, here your constraint is holonomic, see, because no velocity dependence, scleronomic, no time dependence, and conservative. This is a smooth inclined plane. So you consider the motion under a smooth inclined plane where no frictional forces are acting, so there won't be any dissipation. Okay, and conservative. Okay, suppose we take the example, say, of a simple pendulum. Let us take the example of a simple pendulum. So what do we see in a simple pendulum? What is the guiding equation for a simple pendulum? The constraint equation for a simple pendulum. Okay, what is it? How can we write down the constraint equation? We had written it down already. The constraint equation for a simple pendulum: x square plus y square equal to L square. That is the constraint equation for a simple pendulum. So what can you say about this constraint equation? For this equation, this constraint will be holonomic because there is no velocity dependence, scleronomic, okay, scleronomic, and conservative. Okay, so let us now try to find out some examples where you have time dependence. Suppose say a deformable body like an amoeba. Consider an amoeba, number 4. An amoeba. You have all studied amoeba in your biology, isn't it? An amoeba. What does an amoeba do? Its body keeps on deforming, isn't it? Its body keeps on changing shape as it moves on, isn't it? If you take the example of an amoeba, how would you write down the equation of its corresponding constraint equation? If you write down, okay, of a deformable body, that means then now it is not rigid, isn't it? So you will say that the distance between any 2 points Ri minus Rj whole square is some function of time. Okay, so there is a variation. So now this constant, but there is no velocity dependence. So this is holonomic. Okay, rheonomic. Now it is rheonomic. This is dissipative, no longer conservative. This becomes dissipative constraint. Okay, all right. So like that, well, one can find out various kinds of constraints for a system. For example, if you take the motion of gas molecules in a spherical container, suppose you consider a spherical container, so motion of gas molecules in spherical container. How would you write down the constraint equation for this motion? If you have to write down the constraint equation for this motion, then, well, if A is the radius of the spherical container, and if say Ri is the instantaneous position of the ith gas molecule, then you can say that this position Ri, either it is equal to A on the sphere or within the sphere, less than equal to A. So when you are not defining the equation absolutely as something equal to a value, then this becomes non-holonomic. Okay, this is non-holonomic, scleronomic because it's time independent, and dissipative. So you call this constant non-holonomic. So any inequality also, apart from dependence on velocity, when there is an inequality, then also you call that constraint non-holonomic. Okay, so this is an inequality: non-holonomic, scleronomic, and dissipative, because we are considering friction over here. Okay, so these are the examples of constraints. Let's stop over here.